Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a real bow wow of a performance. Woof, woof. It's really bad. Oh, my goodness. It contains, let's see, Sibelius, Symphony No. 5, and Stravinsky's Firebird Suite, two pieces that go so well together, like chocolate sauce and asparagus, right? Conducted by none other than that guru of mindless musical transcendentalism, Sergiu Celibidache. Oh my goodness, released by BR Klassik. These, of course, are called performances of huge vision and opulent something and a great listening experience because of Celibidache's extraordinary understanding of the rhythmic devices that pulse through the score. This is the Firebird. The Sibelius he galvanizes the Munich Philharmonic in an interpretation of tremendous power and vision. No, he doesn't. He's a musical moron, in fact. You know, the more I listen to these releases that come out of Bavarian radio and whatnot of these performances, the more I agree with Celibidache that recordings are not music, because his certainly are not music. That's for damn sure. No, in reality, but in all seriousness, let's just say this. He was a one-trick pony. That's what he was. He played everything the same. It was slow. It was somewhat sloppy, or it could be, actually. The orchestra, the Munich Philharmonic, was never a really great orchestra. And it just wasn't. And he was not an orchestra trainer. He was not one to actually teach them to play better. He would just lecture them and work on the spots that he wanted to. I mean, that's what he did. And his sound was so typical. It was drearily slow. It had all of the accents smoothed over. It was kind of like Glenn Gould playing Beethoven. You know, like the end of the excuse me, the end of the Moonlight Sonata, right? You know, like no, but then he did it. It's like, where do the accents go? What happened to them? Well, it's the same thing with Celli. Everything is well. Let's be specific. Take the opening movement of the Sibelius Fifth. It actually starts out at a rather flowing tempo. I was shocked. This performance dates from 1988, which was sort of at the time he was just transitioning to the from musician to personality cult crazy person that he later became, and it's going quite well, but then it starts getting slower and slower and slower, and by the time the strings come in, which is after the first, minute or two, with the woodwinds going da 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 dum ba da dum ba da, right, that business. First of all, the woodwinds sound awful. The playing is so flat, so dull, so lacking in any kind of character or personality. And then the timpani, which have lots of riffs in the symphony, brum, like this. They always go ba-da-dum. It's all just blended into this smooth, featureless, some would say Zen-like. It's fine to be Zen-like, but the music isn't Zen-like. I mean, be Zen-like was Zen-like music. If all Celibidache was playing was Gurdjieff, or someone like that, okay, let him be as Zen-like as he wants. But Sibelius's Fifth, a craggy, heroic, eruptive piece of music. I mean, that climax that joins the two halves of the movements together when it's pow da dum ba boom ba dum ba. There's nothing happening. Nothing. And then when we get to the end of the movement, where it's going faster and faster and faster, aside from the usual, dynamic flatness, the balances are all wrong. You've got to hear the strings. The strings are going cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, and they're propelling the music forward. You don't hear the strings at all. It's just a mess of bad brass playing. It really is. I mean, dynamically insensitive beyond belief. It's fascinating because, again, Celi is not playing Sibelius's dynamics. He's playing his dynamics. And his dynamics may or may not work with the symphony as a whole. The slow movement is just a snooze. The finale, oh my God. I mean, it has no excitement whatsoever in the initial stages. And as a result of that, as it gets gradually bigger and slower to that monumental conclusion, those final chords, I mean, there's no tension whatsoever left in the music. It's absolutely dreadful, appalling, horrible. And then we get to the Firebird Suite. Now, the Firebird Suite was from 1982, which was even earlier when Celi was, had not quite ossified into his, later self. And it's not bad. It's almost up to tempo. Not quite, but almost. I mean, give him credit for almost getting there. And it's decently played. He spends a lot of attention with like string articulation and the infernal dance and whatnot. But, let's not kid ourselves. The Munich Philharmonic is not a better orchestra than the Concertgebouw, than the New York Phil under Boulez, than any orchestra under Esa-Pekka Salonen, like the Philharmonia, where he recorded it, the Vienna Philharmonic under Dochnani. I mean, there are great, 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 great versions of the Firebird, full of the same kind of detail, but better played, better recorded, up to tempo. What's the point? There is no point. This is a bow wow, as I said. And I do want to say one other thing, which really quite disturbed me. Celibidache people, some of them, are crazy. Like anybody who mindlessly follows an artist, a politician, anybody, the cult of personality, the kookies on January 6th who raided the Capitol for Donald Trump. I mean, these people are just nuts. They have surrendered their own ability to think and process, and they're just mindless lemmings. And there are a lot of mindless lemming Celibidache followers. And I got a comment from one of them just recently, just a couple weeks ago, that was so viciously anti-Semitic that I had to report it to YouTube as hate speech. It was really unbelievable. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm just saying. And, one of the things that it's not Celibidache's fault that there are people who feel that way about him. I don't blame him particularly, but I do take it as somehow symptomatic of a certain mentality and also a quality in his music making that it allows people to surrender their critical faculties, their intelligence, their morals, because of what? For a crappy Sibelius 5 and an under-tempo Firebird? I mean, I think that's all that needs to be said, right? So keep on listening, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.